What's up, everyone? It's your boy Infrar-Ed. Welcome to the Scott Report. Today I am bringing you an anime review of Orange Episode 3, or Letter 3 per se, as the title is called. And this is also, as always, the rule of 3. Episode 3 is always the make or break episode for the series that anyone's watching. So I can tell you that if you didn't feel episode 1 or 2, you're not going to feel episode 3 because the tone is set for this series. You should already know what you're getting into already. It's a sci-fi romance, so if you're not ready for that, I don't think anything else is going to convince you. But I'm enjoying it. I love this story so far, and what I can see from what I've watched, and I go back and I compare it to the manga afterwards, they're still doing an A+ job with adapting the manga and the anime perfectly right now, and that's a good thing. As I won't say it's panel for panel, but they're definitely doing a job of adapting everything that they need to in a fluid way. So getting down to the episode today, we get a little bit of time in the future with Naho and the rest, as we don't get an explanation of how the Naho of the past are getting these letters. However, we do get to see a little bit of why the Naho of the future decided to change things with Kakeru by the end of the episode. And I also want to pull out one of the shortcomings that I have with the series, and it's not really the series itself, it's more of Naho as a character. As a big part of this episode is now she realizes that these letters that she is getting, or the letter that she received, they're telling the truth. I mean, everything that the letter says is happening. However, she keeps making these same little mistakes and shortcomings that still affect overall what's going on, and she's still pretty much retreading the regrets that her future self has. It's just in a different way, as a majority of this episode deals with a feelings triangle between Kakeru, Naho, and an appearance of an upperclassman female by the name of Uda, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, who has a crush on Kakeru, and what Naho wants to do about it. As it starts off the episode with the letter basically saying that in the past, Kakeru always wanted to join the soccer club, but he didn't. He just signed up as a provisionary, but he ended up quitting. Now, the little twist of fate ended up happening here because Suya and Kakeru comes to class and announce that Kakeru will join the soccer club permanently and not as a provision. So Naho can see that the future is changing by her following the letter and everything that it needs to, because he ended up quitting, but now he's going to join the team permanently, as he always wanted to play soccer, and we found out he made a promise to his mother that he wouldn't play. So he changed that. So now he's going to be part of the soccer club and he's happy. However, we found out later on in the episode that in the letter, the upperclassman Uda is going to approach Kakeru and express her feelings for him, and she's going to want to answer. And we found out later on that he does end up dating Uda. So a majority or the bulk of the episode is going to be Naho's decision, knowing this and what she's going to do about it. As I kind of feel that maybe she shouldn't have let this happen. Will she? I guess we'll find out as we get further down into the breakdown of this one. As Naho digs deeper into the letter, she finds out that Uda will express her feelings to Kakeru at their free period. Now, later on in the day, with her knowing this, is kind of racking her brain if she should interfere or not with this, because, you know, maybe he likes Uda. Maybe he will be happier with her. You never know. It's the type of thing that you want to interfere with, but when you have a letter from the future telling you something like this, I think you should believe it, especially when things have come true from everything it says so far. He does approach Naho at one point of the day to basically, you know, say, hey, do you like anybody? Are you interested in anybody? And she shyly says no, and she asks him back, and he says the same thing. He's like, nope, I'm not interested in anybody. I do like Uda. I mean, I'm attracted to her, but that's about it. So she carries on and lets that go on to the end of the day. Uda approaches Kakeru, as I probably said already, and he said that he's going to give her an answer if they're going to date or not by the end of the day. And of course, the letter says that they do end up dating. And this is where Naho reads that she should tell Kakeru her true feelings on if he should date Uda or not. And later on, she's going to be tasked with giving him a pen and an eraser that he will need for the next class, because he's going to forget it. That was the next point of the letter. So she go ahead and fulfills that by giving him the pencil and paper that he gives back to her later in the day. But the letter says that Naho's going to get a note inside of the eraser asking him if he should date Uda or not, and to give him a response. However, she gets so caught up in her day with cleaning the class and things like that she doesn't get it to him in time. It was at one point of the day that everybody did rock, paper, scissors about who's going to go buy drinks for everyone, and Kakeru, he goes to get the drinks for everybody because he lost. He's approached by Uda, and this is where he tells her that he will give her the answer by the end of the day. And Naho, and I believe it was, I forgot which friend she was with when she was cleaning the class, you know, she basically got sidetracked. And she noticed later, and she remembered from the letter that she should have gave him the answer sooner. So what she does is she goes and writes her response down, puts it in the locker. However, it's too late as the time has come and he's already told Uda that he will go out with her and be her boyfriend, as everybody's happy, of course, except Naho, as she did her task a little bit too late. So instead of giving it to him directly, probably, she kind of shied off and just put it into his locker. He didn't read it until later on into the day. Of course, she's naturally heartbroken seeing that he's chosen to go out with Uda as she runs away. And Suya picks up on this, goes to see her, and sees a very heartbroken Naho crying as he asks, "Do you like Suya?" And she didn't respond, but she just kind of ran away crying. And we also see a little bit of regret from Kakeru as well, as he's looking at her response of no in his locker that he's seen probably just moments after he's already decided to date this girl. So that's where we leave with that, with once again another thing that Naho was told not to do that she did the exact opposite of anyway, that could cause a catastrophic change of events in the future if she's trying to fix all of these regrets. There's also a little bit of symbolism in this episode as well, as remember Kakeru was going to get drinks to everybody and he got an orange juice for Naho, and as she sits home sad about the decision that Kakeru has made, she's drinking the orange juice and she says it tastes sour but it tastes sweet at the same time. And that pretty much expresses how she feels, as even though that was her conflict, she was like, maybe he would be happy with Uda. I shouldn't get involved with somebody that he likes. You know, she's a little bit sweet about that because she feels that he may have got what he wanted, but she's sour at the same time because she really likes the guy and she gave up on the opportunity to make things better for herself. And you gotta go what you want. You gotta go for what you want on that, girl. You can't just let that go by, especially when you got a letter from the future telling you to do so. So that's where we leave with that. We blast forward to the future with everybody all together 10 years later, reading from a time capsule that everybody wrote from 10 years ago, which would be at the current time in the story. And we all know how those go. You have big dreams for yourself back when you're in high school or you're a kid, or for yourself in the future or what have you. And those things don't always come true. You know, you can write that you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and in reality, 10 years later, you're going to be working in the office. That's just how life works, unless you change that fate yourself, or sometimes it's out of your control. So the things that they wanted wasn't always accurate, as each one reads what they wanted for themselves. However, they pull out Kakeru's letter, and they kind of wonder if they should read it or not, because, you know, maybe with him being dead, maybe that'd be disrespectful. But at the same time, they want to know what he wanted for himself, or what he would have wanted. And this is where the episode starts to pull at the heartstrings, as they open up Kakeru's letter, and all of the things that he had in his letter was for everyone else. I mean, he was pretty much saying that he wanted them to be friends forever, and he started to point out the things that he liked about everybody, like with Suya. He hoped that Suya would be a great soccer player, and he was like his first true friend that he had, and Suya was the first person to accept him in. To Hakita, you know, he was very funny, even though he had bad delivery on his comedy. He didn't understand it. He always used to make him smile. To I think it's Takako. Takako said, you know, she was generally a mean person. You know, she kind of had a manly personality, but that was only because she was protective of her friends. She was really sweet inside. That's what he loved about her, that she was so protective. And then we also had, and I keep forgetting the one girl name. I think her name is Anka. Or the one with the happy one, the really happy one. Anyway, he wanted her just to stay how she was all the time, because her upbeat personality is always what kept him smiling and kept him positive. So his wishes was for everyone else just to stay the way they are, to stay friends and to be happy. He didn't have anything for himself. He just wanted things for them, and this opens up into the episode where everybody starts to have the regrets for themselves, as we find out that they didn't stay as close as they were. They just happen to be coming back together now and meeting up. And if you got a letter for the future and it's nothing about yourself, Hakita even points out that what if he knew that he didn't have a future for himself? Which opens up to what I was saying last weekend, like maybe Kakeru committed suicide after all. I mean, I know they said it was a car accident, but by reading this letter and Hakita pointing out that he didn't have a future for himself, maybe something really bad happened with these kids and they had like a rift and broke up as friends. And you go back to Naho saying that they could have prevented what happened with him. So what they're gonna do now is they're gonna go to his house and visit his house where he stayed because it's his birthday, and they're gonna honor him for his birthday, and they're gonna try to be closer friends now in a later future because that's what he would have wanted for them. But it is also here that Naho decides that she's going to change the fate for Kakeru in the past because she has so many regrets, and she says that if I could have did some things differently, maybe things would have turned out better for him. Now how that's going to happen, we still have to find out, but that ends the episode. And again, it was another powerful episode of this fantastic series. I'm loving it so far, and I really like the dynamic and the things that we're getting right now. And that's very sad if he did commit suicide because, you know, these guys stopped being friends or something. I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen with that. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here, guys. Let me know what you thought of the video. If you like it, go ahead and drop it a like. If you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as there's not a shortage of content that I have for you guys on this channel. As a matter of fact, I will have ReZero and Arslan reviews up at some point today. And also, go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you enjoying this series? Are you going to stick with it? And what do you think happened to Kakeru that caused his death? Was it truly a car accident, or was it something of his own will? And do you think a rift between the friends caused it or not? Because I think something happened between these kids, because that's what happens when you have friends in high school. You start off with a bunch, and then by your senior year you probably only got one or two, and then after that you probably never see them again. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. As I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me, and I really appreciate that. So thank you very much for stopping by. So this is your boy Infrar-Ed signing out. See you soon.